He loves to break bones and throw bad guys through glass furniture. And with that ponytail, he looks like your dad during a midlife crisis. That's right, I'm talking about Steven Seagal, years before he became annoyingly Buddhist. It's 1990's Hard to Kill, this time on Last Action Zero.
In a world overrun with podcasts, comes yet another underground, independent, amateur, completely irrelevant, perhaps kind of shitty, action movie podcast. Hosted by a couple of zeros. Potty Humor brings to you two men, two beards, one podcast that puts the FU in Kung Fu.
All right.
Yeah.
The hard and hard sci-fi.
Right on.
Clever.
Boom and shoot 'em up.
What?
That's bad
The
news.
two in gratuitous violence.
Well, that's kind of reaching.
Okay.
They are the Last Action Zeros.
Cool. So, exciting. First Steven Seagal we're doing. This is Miller. We got Ian with me as always, co-hosting.
Yep.
And with a special, this is our first guest. We got Mr. Joel Ruiz, a local Chattanoogan, I guess, stand-up comedian. And is that all you do right now, or
I also
put you on blast a little bit?
I run a production company. We put out web comedies and shorts.
Okay, cool. So what's the site?
It's we don't have a site up right now. You can just find us on Facebook if you search Evett and Bloom.
Okay.
EVATT is Evett, and then BLOOM Bloom. Evett and Bloom.
Sure, we'll put some links up.
Yeah,
in the
For sure.
description.
Yeah, we'll post it. We'll definitely put some links up. We'll probably have to maybe shill it again at the end.
But today I'm here about some bone to talk about some bones breaking. That's what I want to talk about.
That's what we're all about.
There's some bone breaking. That's the one cool thing about Steven Seagal action movies was when he did fight, it was brutal. You know, I mean, he'd break some bones, especially early on in those earlier movies.
Oh yeah, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot of I feel like he's a human first person shooter in the way he walks around. He always keeps that gun directly in front of his vision.
Yeah.
I'm making the motion. No one's gonna be able to see it, but his gun is always pointed where he's looking.
Yeah, he's very tactical.
Yeah.
And
he looks the part in that manner.
And I was always super impressed by Steven Seagal because he was former CIA, and he's one of the few Americans.
See, the former CIA thing, I think, is just one of those urban legends.
I think, well,
It's
actually,
you look it up now, and you can't find anything on it.
I think, I meant to look this up, and I forgot because I'm lazy, but I think what happened was, apparently he's notorious for lying about his past.
Yeah.
I think that might have been one of the things that he fabricated.
That might have been one of the things he fabricated. Or maybe that was the one thing he didn't fabricate.
I mean,
that's how good he is.
Yeah.
The CIA taught him how to throw people off.
Yeah, by just big, boastful claims.
Yeah, you put out enough stuff out there, no one's going to believe anything.
Yeah.
But he did actually have an Aikido dojo.
Yeah, I mean, he was that's legit, being one of the only, or first,
He was
white, American guys to have an Aikido dojo in Japan.
He was a cop, right? He had a reality show for a while.
Yeah, he had a reality show, and he was a fucking, a volunteer cop, in his current fat age. But he apparently, according to the show, I think he says it on the show, had gotten had become a cop 20 years or more before. So he might have,
Sure he had.
And I mean, you look at him, I can believe that. Sure, I mean, I don't know what his education
What would you do?
back up, if he has a criminal law degree or something, which you would have to have if you were in the fucking CIA. You would have to have a bunch of law, some type of criminal justice degree.
You know who else is oddly enough a
Maybe
police
he has
officer?
that. I didn't look that
You know Shaquille O'Neal is also a police officer? What if they did a buddy cop movie?
Wouldn't that just be a documentary? Like they get
I'm saying they have the background, but yeah, they could totally do a reality show.
Yeah, what would you do if you got pulled over with Shaquille O'Neal and Steven Seagal?
Steven Seagal with the cops.
Depends on how much stuff I've got in my car, I guess.
I'd be
who good cops, who bad cops.
Yeah,
in that combination.
Oh man,
I feel like Shaq would be the good.
That'd
cop.
be a lot of really low talking. There would be so much low talking. You would you'd have a hard time. They'd get into a lot of altercations with people just because they wouldn't understand what they were saying. You could step out of the car now.
Oh man,
he's right. You gotta step out of the car.
I will say though, I hope that Steven Seagal is a better cop in real life than he is in this movie.
In this movie,
he's
one thing, and it's kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but it was weird how there were only 3 non-dirty cops. I feel like every cop was a dirty.
There
cop.
was 2 non-dirty, or 3, yeah, 3, and 2 of which got gunned down.
Yeah.
Somehow the other one didn't get gunned down though.
No, I mean there was the one at the beginning that he called. I don't know his name, but he was not Danny Glover. That's all I know him as.
Yeah,
not Danny Glover. And then his friend, the guy that raised his kid, and he got gunned down at the end.
And I feel like the scene where that other guy because they have the scene where Seagal and his family gets gunned down, and that's the other cop that gets gunned down that he called. That scene I feel like was almost taken directly from a Lethal Weapon movie. Same a black guy, someone comes to his door, he looks up, boom, caps.
I do want to point out something. I took a note of this in the scene you're talking about, where they first get Seagal and his family. That's in the first 10 minutes of the movie. He gets shot within a 5-foot range with a shotgun, then breaks the dude's arm, gets shot a second time, then runs at the person that shot him. And then they shoot him a third time, and then he finally goes down. But then, in the next shot, where you see it, he is, holding his wife. But he's laying on top of her.
Yeah.
So, all that means is he got shot 3 times and was still able to, go and, grasp his wife.
Yeah.
As they, died together.
It was a Coma gun, man. It wasn't a regular shotgun. It was a Coma gun.
Well, I mean, the movie is called
It's
hard to kill. And that was what I noted that too. I was like hard to kill. Apparently.
I think I wrote hard to kill at least four separate times in this movie.
He is so hard to kill.
Yeah.
It's that's the formula I figured out. You can always tell if the Steven Seagal movie it's going to be a good one to watch if you could say the title of the movie after the phrase Steven Seagal is. Yeah, all those movies it's on deadly ground. Steven Seagal is above the law.
Right. He is under siege.
Yeah. The only one that doesn't work is The Glimmer Man, because that's more of a title, and that movie kind of sucked. But generally...
Well, in the movie, he was literally the Glimmer Man. Though in that movie, it was they made one reference to it, and then there was no more Glimmer Man.
Right.
Yeah. It was one real obscure... Or one guy talks about it years before in Vietnam or something. He was the Glimmer Man. That's it.
But you look at some of his worst movies, harder to watch movies, I guess, don't work. Steven Seagal is Exit Wounds. No, that doesn't work. So, but yeah, it's you can just look at the title. If it's a prepositional phrase or it's some kind of thing that you could say Steven Seagal is and finish the sentence. Usually, that's going to be entertaining.
Good. Okay.
I mean,
good is relative, but
yeah. This movie.
I liked it.
You liked it? Yeah.
I mean, it's so ridiculous.
It was that typical late 80s.
Oh yeah. This is I was the liquor store in the very beginning.
Oh man.
It's so great because he goes in there and just there's the random talk of why aren't you watching the Oscars?
He's watching the Oscars.
Yeah.
And then everything that goes down in there, and then there's some cop off screen after everything that goes on in that place. Hey, I guess you won the Oscar, right?
Yeah.
It's what does that mean?
Well,
what is that?
One thing that I thought was funny in that scene, he goes in, and the very first thing he does is he asks the guy, he goes, hey, do you have any champagne? And the guy goes, yeah, right next to the caviar. No, it's in the back.
Yeah.
He says it no, what do you think? We got champagne in here? Oh, but we do. It's in the back.
We do. It is in the back next to the caviar.
That guy was ballsy. Because, I mean, he, the dude had a shotgun on him. This is how the scene plays out. You know, Steven Seagal goes in, has the banter, asks about the Oscars. He's shopping. some guys come in just to, like, rob the place, I guess, probably robbing it.
Yeah.
I guess. And, like, that fucking shop owner, he just played it so not cool. Like, the epitome of
like
not
the guy
cool.
has a shotgun on him, and like the shop owner hands him the money. He's like, "Take all my life savings, do it." And then like he takes the money and it's like cut back.
Take my life savings.
Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah, he said that.
It was like wadded up like $5.
Yeah, and then the shop cut back to the shop owner, and he has like a baseball bat out of nowhere. He's like, "I got half of mine to come out there after you," and it's like. That dude has a shotgun. Yeah. And then, of course, because that guy had a shotgun, then blast the dude.
Right.
Well, I mean, he didn't even just say it. I mean, like, he even took a step.
Yeah.
Like, he came at him, basically.
But they did establish that guy's pretty surly, because, Seagal asked him if he's going to watch the Oscars. He's like, I hate the fucking Oscars.
Okay, so that happened, and then Steven Seagal, like, beats the shit out of those guys. Some cops show up, and someone tells Steven Seagal, "Ha-ha," from off screen. You don't ever see the cop.
Yeah.
He sounds jive. I guess. I wrote it down because it was really awesome.
Yeah, it's just too. My favorite part about the whole.
Like, you see the Oscars tonight.
My favorite part about the whole scene, though, is like, he goes in to grab the champagne, and then he's like, get the stuffed animal for his kid, so they establish, he's got a kid at home. The shopkeeper dies. He then, like, beats the crap out of his kids. And then in the next scene when he's leaving, you see him put the champagne and the stuffed animal on top of his car. So he just robbed that place.
Yeah,
right.
Because the shopkeeper is dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, and the cops are there, and he's just like, well, I'm taking this. Yeah. That was one of my... That's like the opening scene to the movie, and I was like, yes.
Well, I thought it was funny how he was, like, totally... like, not phased at all by, like, seeing, like, an innocent man get gunned down right in front of him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Seagal's a seasoned cop.
It's just, like, instantly, he's like, yeah, I guess I did clean up those guys, like, drinking coffee or whatever with the cops, and, like, just totally fine. Like, goes home, ready to sex up his wife,
Yeah, and then murders more people.
But, basically, the plot of this movie, just to set this up, for anybody that might be listening that hasn't seen it, which you should watch it first before you listen.
Yeah.
It's both my opinion, but if they don't want to, this is their chance to get, I guess, a Cliff Notes version of Hard to Kill. I guess Seagal is running like a surveillance, like a deep surveillance on some real dirty dealings.
Yeah.
That I never really understood what the dirty dealings were.
It's just some guy.
Some guys also kind of
the office.
It was what?
It's just it's like the main bad guy of it. It's like him paying off people to kill somebody, do something shady he could get into office.
They kind of explained it in, like, the montage while he was in the coma, and it was showing all the newspapers.
That's right. It ended up being like a politician.
Yeah.
It was like some politician. So, yes, it was for political gains.
He was setting that up, and then Seagal caught that on tape, which I couldn't tell if he was holding a camera or one of those little guns that gets sound. I guess it was both.
It was both. It was
he
like
was two-fisting.
Yeah, it was like this old school thing with like it had like a shotgun type, and then it was great because he had like a giant tape recorder, like
everything looked like
sashayed around him.
It was like the Rambo of surveillance.
Yeah,
like he had all the biggest equipment he possibly could. He had to point the thing
and
at
he wasn't
like
being that sneaky with it.
No, yeah, I was gonna say you
can see him.
He's kind of boneheaded about like he makes all this noise and like he's supposed to be this trained killer professional.
His name is Storm. Like he is a storm.
Yeah, his name was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It was a pretty typical awesome
Mason Storm
action movie name, action hero name.
Storm.
Mason Storm.
Yeah.
But like
there was a lot of really awesome Seagal whispering.
Oh yeah.
In the movie.
I love how his son's name was Sonny.
Sonny.
Like they didn't put a whole lot of.
No.
I mean, Sonny is a real name, but it's still like, it's a movie. They could make up any name they wanted for him. Yeah, let's fuck it. Let's just call him Sonny.
Okay, so yeah, he gets the surveillance of the politician.
Yeah.
And like, it's crazy. Like they hear him. We're talking about how he's like horrible and making noise. They hear him. They fucking hear him. They're like, "What's that?" And like Steven Seagal runs off, and like they knew. I guess they saw him. I guess they just fucking saw him. Like because they fucking follow him back and just shoot him.
Well, no, remember because he calls his cop buddy and says, "This is only for us to know," and then. And then the crooked cops, which was the first crooked cop that busted in that conversation. I don't know if you noticed, was fucking Hank Schrader from fucking Breaking Bad.
Dean Norris. He had like a really small part in that movie. But
He looks, man, it's weird. He looks way better as like an old dude as a young than as
he did not make him a very looking young
disheveled.
Yeah.
Like,
I can say that comfortably.
I think he's had like work on his teeth done since then. And,
Yeah.
like,
Oh man, I did think that. Okay, William Sadler, the guy that played the
Axel.
the guy that played.
No, yeah, not that. He was the
the politician.
The senator.
He was like
Yeah.
the main bad guy,
Yeah.
the crooked politician. I thought that was a really funny line too. He's like, he doesn't live an hour longer. The guy's like, he won't, and then Sadler's like, no kidding.
Dude, like, all the terrible jokes and setups.
What did that mean?
That's so.
Like, I think he was literally telling him, like, no kidding. Like, you're not kidding me here. You better kill him within an hour. You better not be kidding me. Like, yeah, boss, I'm not kidding.
There wasn't just a term of phrase.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird how, like, when he calls his cop buddy to tell him, like, hey, I got this info, like, the phone rings, the one cop picks it up and goes, hello, and then Steven Seagal says to him on the phone, hey, this is for, our ears only. And that's when the other guy goes, oh, I better pick up the phone. Oh, this might be sketchy. How did that cop know?
Well, if you're a shady cop, you gotta check all the dealings of the non-shadies.
I guess he was. That was a habit he did all the time.
Well, no, like it is the way that they get their information and the rate that they get their information in this movie is outrageous. Like so many times,
everybody just seems to know everything.
As soon as Steven Seagal finds out anything in the movie, everybody knows it. That's not him.
Yeah,
it's so outrageous.
Like that was outrageous. It was so outrageous.
Yeah,
because the shotgun blast we talked about, because they don't kill him.
Yeah,
it was a coma gun. He goes into a coma for 7 years. Like the one other like good cop is like
he knows that that's
like,
the John Doe.
He takes the doctor aside like as they're like trying to operate on Steven Seagal and is like, nobody but like the people in this room and like me and you know that like he's alive because everybody thinks he's dead. Everybody thinks everybody died from being gunned down. They think Steven Seagal, his wife, and his son died. His son didn't, and his son jumped out like a second-story window to avoid getting shot by the coma gun, and that shit was badass.
The coma gun.
He jumped. He bolted out the second-story.
Well, no, and like his son is also because I actually wrote down at one point the sequel for this movie, which would be Hard to Kill 2, like father, like son.
Oh,
and it would be about his son because like his son gets shot at with shotguns. And then, like, just dodges them out. And at one point, because he jumps out the window, and then literally, I guess it's got, like, it's one of those setups where, like, it's like the window and there's some roof, and then the drop. Because he jumps out and then, ducks down, and they shoot. And then he pops his head back up and then runs. So, like, they shot right where he was. And so, just like his father,
but, I mean, it was definitely...
He is hard to kill.
He was definitely on... the second story.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from that kid. I'm saying that kid is a badass, just like Steven Seagal.
He might even be harder to kill.
Harder to kill. Like father, like son. He's
more harder to hit.
Yeah.
He's more of like evasion, I felt like. But he was really ducking out the window. That was pretty cool.
I will say though, Steven Seagal picked the weakest woman ever to marry in this movie. Because he got shot like 3 times. She got shot once and was immediately dead.
She was but hey, man, she was a woman.
This was 1990.
It was 1990. They were like, the woman can get shot once.
She literally could have tripped and...
That would have been overkill if she had taken more than one shot.
She was not quite so hard to kill.
No.
She was pretty easy to kill.
I never expected her to be that hard to kill.
Yeah. No, but
poor woman. But, God rest her soul.
I do like, and so then he dies. His internal affairs buddy, which also I like how much the internal affairs guy just went against procedure because like his whole job is to make sure like people aren't fucking up and they're actually going by the code. But internal affairs dude immediately was like, all right, we're gonna lie. We're gonna say this guy and this kid are dead. You're gonna hide them somewhere, and no one's gonna know about it.
Oh well, I mean, he has like some license, I bet.
Yeah,
it's like as internal affairs because it's like he's like the secret agent of the cops. Yeah, so they're probably like, you have license, you can.
But it's
take this into your own hands.
But yeah, but then it is ridiculous though because as soon as he wakes up and he's trying to call for the guy,
as soon as he wakes up, he says, "You gotta get me out of here, because you and I will both be dead in an hour." Yeah. It's like, who knows that you're awake? Like you haven't even told anybody. Like it's just you and Kelly LeBron.
Yeah, because that's the crazy thing. Because they're like, "Oh yeah, John Doe," and they're like, everyone knows it's him. It's like, wait.
That's after he said, we have an hour to live. Yeah, like, he knew, immediately waking up, was like, we got an hour.
But I was like, if they knew that he was the John Doe already, because there's no other way that they would have, like, been like, oh, wait, a John Doe's awake and called a cop that worked here 10 years ago? Oh, yeah. Whatever. But, like, so that is just, if they would have known it, why not just go kill him when he was in a coma?
Right. Yeah. Like, no, it's like they were waiting. They were like, we're going to get him. The second he wakes up, we're going to get him. It's like, why don't we shut up?
It just, I mean, he would be pretty easy to kill.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want it to be easy. Nothing in life is ever easy.
Because it's not even like a sense where they would want to get the, like, wake him up, find where the tape was, and then kill him. Because they didn't even try to find the evidence. And they just assumed that it's still out there. Like,
yeah. Like, he had everything pretty well hid, you know. All the surveillance he'd gotten, like the whole point of it all.
Yeah.
They never even really came that close to getting any of it, I guess.
No.
Well, I guess I guess it was that one good cop, man. He was just the foil in the plan. Like,
which, by the way, is...
He should have been the guy they supplanted. The IA guy.
He is the cop. He also played a cop in Wayne's World, the movie.
I thought he was familiar.
Yeah. Wayne's World 1?
Yeah.
You're talking about the cop, that's his friend. The good cop. That, like, raises his son for him while he's... In Wayne's World is a weird thing. I will also say the hospital he is in has terrible procedures. Terrible procedures? Well, I mean, they let him grow that sweet Coma beard.
Well, that is the other thing, too. That is, like... That's so amazing about this movie is like because Steven Seagal is all into like, you know, I don't know what, like, Oriental traditional stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, they use a bunch of. They explain it like he says to Kelly LeBrock later like, I lived in China.
Yeah.
Which I was like. Are they going to bring something up other significance about China? Because why don't they say Japan, since everything he does and all the shit he wears and everything that's like the imagery is all Japanese? Why do they say China? Like, what? I just love that Chinese master.
Yeah. I love that she shaved that for him, though. That's the thing. Because he looked around the place that they were at, and it was all like the Japanese setup. But that was her boss's like house.
She was house sitting.
Yeah, but then he was like, he looked around and goes, "So did you shave my give me this Coma beard?" And then she like giggled and was like, "But that's not her house. So why did she shave him like that?"
Kelly LeBrock was actually very reminiscent of another like Coma attendant in another action movie. She was pretty similar to Buck, who likes to fuck from Kill Bill.
No,
because there's a scene.
Well, there's a scene.
There's a scene, and I guess she's like trying to get him to wake up or something, because she's like, "Would you like a little pussy?"
Yeah,
would you like a little pussy? That was she has like a stuffed cat, but then she like lifts up the fucking like sheet and like looks at his penis
and just says, "You really need to wake up.
You have so much you have so much reason to live for."
She definitely was into it. Like she. And the other nurse knew it too. She kept calling, "There's your boyfriend."
Yeah, he's been there for 7 years, and she's like, "You've been you're my oldest patient I've had," and but yeah, so that just means that she's probably really just taking it and just putting it in her mouth when he's sleeping.
She probably bathes him and sponges him down and like.
You wonder if there was any improv there, because I feel like it's the character. Obviously, they were the character's gonna have this the Florence Nightingale syndrome or whatever. But it's it went so fucking deep that she got it in real life, because she married him after this movie. Right?
Oh, really?
It was before. I think.
It was before they were already married.
I think it was before. I looked up the IMDb trivia, and it said they were already married.
If they were already married, then that's why that line about him having a giant dick was
right.
Yeah, because I was wondering
that was him stroking his own ego.
I totally thought that it was Steven Seagal demanding, being like, "Hey, this chick wants to fuck me," and then she's gonna look at my dick and be like, "Hey, you need to wake up to use that dick."
He's the classic action hero, it's he wants something said about his dick. I guess I get it. I get it. And I can give props to him in a certain way for that.
I also noticed how
it was really corny.
He had two kind of intimate love scenes in the movie with two different women. Both of which he does basically the same move, which is just play with some
major
boobs.
boob groping.
Yeah.
He's all about groping.
I wonder if that's when they were casting
dry groping.
Yeah, they were casting these ladies. I mean, obviously the wife was cool, but when they cast the other lady, they were like, "All right, now here's the deal. If you want to be in this movie, you gotta let Mr. Seagal play with your boobs."
That's so funny too that he's actually married to her, because she's her their sex scenes seem more awkward than
it was fucking way more awkward
than the person that was actually
not his wife in real life. Yeah. Oh god, that scene was so awkward.
Yeah.
It was so awkward. That was one with the dry. I guess she's I'm Kelly LeBrock. I don't have to show my boobs. The other chick didn't show her boobs. She like had them out, but Steven Seagal's hand was covering them.
Yeah.
So like as a kid, you'd have been like, move that hand, Steven Seagal.
I love the way that she approached him about it too. Like he's training, and she comes in like all like slutted up,
dude, looking fine.
Yeah, no, she's
looking
like,
so fine.
Like the flower.
Weird science fine. She came in looking weird science fine.
And she came in like I thought you might want a flower. It's like what do you want?
She said like I was like in the neighborhood, or like I just happened to be walking by.
We're in this old thing,
and I love it too because as soon as she gives it to him, the first thing he does is takes it and throws it on the ground and then takes her. And so it's like, hey, why did you have the flowers? Just go in there, like looking like a whore. No, I will. It's great though because like you said, like when he wakes up, immediately knows that like, hey, I'm going to get murdered. This needs this.
Like an assassin comes like, later that day. He was right.
That's where I was talking about like how the hospital is just terrible in procedure because like initially they just I understand like internal affairs can do that, but like this woman is just like staring at this dude's dick, putting pussies on him.
Man.
And then
it could easily happen.
And then the assassin dude walks in looking like a doctor and just goes, hey, and she's just a morning doctor and goes, excuse me, nurse, can you give me a list of our coma patients? She goes, yes, and just hands it to him.
They weren't just at a hospital. They were it said it like the coma center. Well, they were at like the coma center.
Well, still, like he looks it up and then finds it, and then that's when the guard goes, Do you know who that is? She goes, no, I've never seen him before.
Never seen that doctor before.
And so like just because the dude walks in the lab coat, she's like, yeah, confidential files. Here you go. Yeah,
he didn't have any like. Who saw if he had like falsified credentials? They didn't make a play.
Yeah, nothing. He didn't even like show something or
I'm a doctor,
or be like, hey, I'm visiting from this hospital. It's just like, hey, I have a lab coat on. Give me this.
Yeah.
But then the next scene was one of my favorite in the movie. The chase scene.
The chase scene, like where he's
rowing
he's like he's rowing on a boat with a mop on a hospital bed.
Yeah.
What I liked actually was leading into that. Was the physical therapy
I wanted to bring him up.
And the physical therapist is like, come for your physical therapy, and like rolls him down the hall, and physical therapy ends up being like this like massage, this like sensual back massage.
He's
like,
super stoked about giving it to him too. He said, come on, we're gonna take him and give you a massage and make you feel real good.
Make you feel real good.
And like he keeps promising things like, hey, I can't remember the first, I think it was like pudding or something.
Yeah.
He's like, and maybe I'll get you some pizza, you know? Like,
yeah, we just gotta do your exercise.
A creepy uncle.
He was a creep. He was
like a creepy uncle. Like, hey, come on, let me rub you in some spots and I'll give you some treats for it.
Yeah. Like, the chase on with Steven Seagal on the gurney, like rowing himself with a mop, was pretty hilarious. I mean, it was like a fucking like episode of Scooby Doo because they're like going on like elevators, going down, the guy's going up like, the elevator.
The fact that like Steven Seagal's like biggest thing was like to reach and hit a button that the guy did not even realize that he could hit. Yeah, because like the guy's just banging on the door. When it was just like, no, there's the
guy, like the doors are closed. He's running up like it's almost like he wants to get on the elevator. And he's like, "You bastard! I'll get you!" As it's closing, it's like you have a gun. Yeah. You could just fire shots
and
right
Steven
through there.
Seagal's tactic is to hit different floors.
Yeah, and like so he hits the top floor. The guy sees that the elevator is going to the top floor, so he immediately, before even seeing where it ends up, gets in the other elevator.
Another elevator meets him on the top floor.
Like. Couldn't Steven Seagal just hit like a button for a floor that they weren't at yet and then stopped and been on a totally different floor and probably been able to hide?
He could have thrown him out a little bit. And he wasn't out to really hide, I don't think, though. I think he was out ultimately to try and kill that guy. Because he's Steven Seagal. I think that might have been his end game. I don't think it was just to get away. I think it might have been to counter kill maybe in some way in his comatose. In his like he's pretty atrophied after 7 years of being in a coma.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was able to do some rowing. That was impressive.
I do love how once Kelly LeBrock took control of, I guess, the gurney or the hospital bed or whatever it was, she was like running. She was like full steam, like down hills and bumping him into every single thing. It seemed like his feet slammed into so much like car doors and concrete and just
should have done like tons of extra damage to him that he probably couldn't even felt.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that as soon as she gets it, and then I love because you're talking about like his muscle atrophy, like his the montage that was like split up of like him training.
Yeah.
Oh my! It was so depressing. There was an acupuncture montage. That's what it was.
This is working out.
Like it was like him like trying to lift his arms again and then stabbing himself with needles.
And like
he had incense lit on them, but he had
on the acupuncture needles. I wonder if that's a thing. I guess
on his back. Like how did he get that? Like
he's getting that flexibility back, son, so he can go not use any of it and just use a very straightforward style, letting balls breaking people's bones and throwing them through furniture. The montage was crazy because it was like, I know that he's been in a coma for 7 years, so it's like he has to look like awkward, like he's getting that like strength back or whatever. But it just looked really awkward.
Yeah,
and they did an awkward tactic or a really crazy tactic with it, where like it ended, like the montage like ended, some movie happened, and then they like
went back
reprised the montage.
Yeah.
Like not just like the song from the montage, like reprised the whole montage. Back to more montage. It was like that montage ended up taking like 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes. But what was great when the final like end of all montage is done is is him sitting on top of the mountain after he runs up on top of it, and it's like a 30-second shot of just him on a mountaintop with the sun in the background.
Oh man, looking real
like,
contemplative.
Yeah, and there's like the hawk or eagle or something like
screeching in the background.
But that's like a 30-second shot of just Steven Seagal sitting on top of a mountaintop. Just yes, I'm ready.
I loved the like eagles crying. Like I was like, he's gotten there. He's risen to the mountaintops. He's ready to fucking like go take down the cartel and the politician.
Also, I love watching Steven Seagal run. He's got one of the most hilarious running styles of anybody. He like flaps his arms to the side.
Oh yeah,
he doesn't like to make like fists when he runs. He likes to leave his hands open, and it does make it look very, very funny.
And he doesn't have a big stride. It's like a scurry.
Yeah.
It's almost like a T-Rex run, almost with his arms sometimes. Like he doesn't like to get big sweeping motions.
In the early scenes when he was during the montage, that made sense because maybe he has totally regained his muscle. So it's like this is the best he can do to run. But he does it later on after he's fully when he's back in his suit, which I think he even had the same like vest on. He went out and found the same kind of vest that he was wearing in the beginning 7 years ago in the beginning of the movie because like that's his style. He's like, I don't care that 7 years has passed. I'm gonna dress how I dress.
Yeah. I noticed like I thought that too because I thought when he was first running I was like, oh, he just did that because he doesn't have the strength, and then later you're like, oh no, that's how he wants. That's really weird.
He's just a dopey runner, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that to his face, but you know.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Then after that though, it gets so ridiculous because that's whenever his buddy finds him again. Like after and the movie parts that happen in between the montage are so insignificant and just boring.
The movie was fucking boring. It was pretty fucking boring.
In the middle of it dragged. Yeah, because because as soon as anyone found out anything, everyone found it out, and so there was no.
And like his buddy was able to track Steven Seagal and find him. Like, hey, I like raised your kid for you, and then he's like, I raised your kid for you, and like Steven, and they're like, after the end of their talk, they're like, they'll do anything to get Sonny. Like his kid, and I'm like, well, now all of a sudden they all know that his kid's alive too.
Yeah,
it was
they all immediately knew, even though none of them. He explained how the kid was not murdered or anything in the last 7 years, and then now they're like, oh yeah, you know what? We knew it was his kid, and it was the kid that we were trying to kill, but like we just were waiting.
They're just maybe an ultimate sadist, just trying to capture them and do it together, like do the father and son together.
Yeah,
not caring what information they might get out that could damn their whole plots.
Yeah, I mean they didn't think a lot of stuff out. These bad guys.
They'll do it. They'll do anything to get Sonny. Like what? No.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. They don't know. There was a line. I don't know if it was at the end of the montage or it was at some scene where it was just an awesome line that Seagal said, Ruiz. I'm going to take you to the bank. The blood bank.
Yeah.
It wasn't to the guy. He wasn't saying it to him. Like, he was saying it like beforehand, before he goes out on his mission to kill him.
Yeah, it was when he was like sitting on the bed and remembering all this stuff. Because he like I thought earlier when he saw the commercial, I thought that's when it clicked. Like, oh, that was that guy. But no, that didn't happen.
Which I love that they flash back to the beginning of the movie and then they flash back to when he saw the commercial earlier and then when he sees it again. But I was like, oh wow, they put this in here twice and used
Remind me.
Like whenever, because like what you were saying, when he sees the commercial for it's like the senator dude for the second time, and it finally
it's like some word that he's saying.
It's because
it's like
you can take that to the bank. That's his catchphrase.
And that was the take to the bank blood.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
I thought the first time when he saw the commercial, because you know, and the first time when he sees the video, he's like, "Oh man!" He's like, "I know that voice. I know who that is." But then, like, when he sees it later, after he wakes up from the coma, you know, he remembers everything, and he makes that clear to say. You know, he makes a clear point of that, and he watches the guy's commercial, and the guy goes, "You can take that to the bank," and he's just like, and he looks at it, but then I guess nothing clicked within there. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
just some guy.
Yeah.
Back to my revenge plot of who I don't know.
One of another great line that is because like it's around the time that him and his old internal affairs buddy meets up and he finds out about the kid, is that he tells them that they're gonna take everyone down, and he's just like, you know, they got too many of them, like that's why I had to quit, blah blah blah, we're outgunned, and Seagal just looks at him and just says like, oh, but we're gonna win, just the two of us. Because we have superior attitude and superior state of mind. You remember that? That's straight up what he said. That was like his reasonings of like, oh no, we got this.
He's like, I have reached the final level. I have achieved what they call the glow.
Yeah. Yeah, he really, I mean, like I will say this, like the title holds out throughout the whole movie. Because then after the montage scene and all the boringness happens, and then he finds out he has his kid, and then everybody knows that they're there because like she tries to go to someone's house or some crap.
Yeah, she tries to find the other nurse that she worked with.
Yeah, that was the old nurse, and like the old nurse was like the mom of
which is also crazy that the bad guys were able to find out so easily, like every single person that they're both connected to.
Yeah,
like Seagal kind of makes sense, but this new nurse. They're just like, oh, we now know everyone that she holds dear to her. Yeah. But yeah, so like after they get caught and they're trying to run away and they're in the Jeep, that Jeep that he was in is a fucking tank.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was funny.
Like, as they're driving away, it's like smoking, like bigger than shit after all the shit it goes to get away from like the big shootout that happens like at the house she's house sitting for. Yeah. They've been, where he's been recovering through the entire 20-minute montage.
I want to talk about that shootout, too. Yeah, but you can go and finish.
Well, I just thought it was funny that like that Jeep, you know, it's like he's driving away and it's like it looks like it's taking a lot of wear and tear. The very next scene, like drives up and it kind of just looks like a little beat up. Yeah. It's not really like smoking, not really smashed in, kind of just like a little bit of like a tatter on the outside, and they immediately just trade the fucking Jeep straight up to these bunch of Mexican guys for like this like. Not like it's like an equally beat up sports car. It's like, and they're like, yeah, sure, immediately. Just the fucking
no problem. That's the weird thing too, because they were just on the side of the road with the hood open, staring at it, and then he just goes, "Want to trade?" And then they do, and he just closes the hood and starts the car. So what if the car is fine? Why were they just on the side of the road? Because they weren't at a house; they were just like pulled off.
They were. Probably rape trolling.
Yeah, so like
they look rough.
It was a gang. Like it was a gang.
And as soon as they get in it too, you hear the guy say, "Oh man, look, it looks like it's been in a war or something." Yeah, like, that's a cool thing to have a car.
Yeah, like they're like, "We love this Jeep. It looks like it's really beat to shit."
They even ask him, they go, "How hot is it?" And he goes, "Smoking," implying that this car is definitely stolen. Yeah, they look like the kind of guys who would steal.
And also, like, you know, he fucked it up because like the scene before. It was literally smoking. Like, the end of the scene right before it was smoking out of the hood.
But, like, they look like the kind of guys who would steal a car. It was riddled with bullet holes, so it's definitely going to get attention. And they're like, yeah, we want that car.
Yeah. They're just like, we want to make Steven Seagal, like, that smooth. It's like they were going for that like, kind of, like, Bourne, you know, like, switching cars, like, being elusive. Like, I'm switching cars. They can't trace me. And, like, it was just done really, like, lazily and horribly.
How about during the shootout, though, which was a pretty awesome scene. It was a nice way to pick the pace back up. But there's a part where they're they're about to go out the door, and they see the two guys about to come in. Well, obviously those are bad guys. I don't know why he just didn't shoot them like their silhouettes right off the bat, but he didn't. He waited for them to bust through. They duck behind something. He gets up, I think, shoots a couple shots, and then out of nowhere has a grenade. Throws a grenade.
Yeah. Lobs a grenade it's 8 feet. Lobs a grenade.
I guess his friend gave him the grenade when he gave him the gun. I don't remember seeing it in the briefcase, but that's just a here's a gun, a pistol. Also, you might need this grenade.
Oh yeah, you never know when you need a grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the shootout was ridiculous. Just they were dead. They would have died.
I think that's when Dean Norris died in that scene too, pretty unceremoniously. But
yeah, because I kept looking for him to pop up, but it's he looked like 2 or 3 other of the goons.
Yeah.
A lot of them looked really similar.
He definitely went out fast, but yeah, the Jeep though, because at one point they talk about how they got away and they're in the Jeep and they're about to leave, and there was a dude that is on a rooftop where they were going to drive under it, and he has a shotgun, and as they drive under, unloads 3 rounds into a Jeep where it's just the canvas top.
Yeah, like a soft top
doesn't get touched and nothing happens.
Hard to kill.
That's
he's so hard to kill that it bleeds off like Kelly LeBron.
Literally.
Also.
Well, because he's touching the car right then, so his power is transferred to that, and his dick was just inside of her. So
she now has
she has it for an hour or so.
Okay, so she has to recharge. It's not something that she has for life.
Yeah, it's just
once she bears his child, you think maybe she gets it for life?
She's at least
probably
resistant.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
She's difficult to kill.
She's not immune. She's not impervious.
She's just difficult to kill.
Yeah.
I love how when he's driving away and they're still shooting at him and stuff. They're getting shot at from behind, but you see all these bullets riddle up in front of the Jeep, and they're having to dodge around it. And you think are they magically passing through it, or how are they not at least hitting the huge Jeep tires or anything? But
oh yeah,
that's
perfect driving skills.
He has those really awesome driving skills. As we were just saying, that Jeep is just also very hard to kill.
Yeah, the Jeep is hard to kill. Also, speaking of them banging, I would like to point out that Seagal is a terrible man in this movie, because although yes, he knows that it's been 7 years since he's been out of the coma, his last memory is his wife being just murdered.
Right.
And this movie maybe takes a month, and that's only because of him working out and trying to get ready.
Mm.
But as soon as she offers it up to him, he's just yeah, I'm down. There's no warning.
There's never a sense of
oh,
my wife wanted me to do.
Yeah, my son's dead and my wife is dead. Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna do it. And even after that, he looks at his ring for a bit and it's just kind of just shrugs it off.
Regret nothing.
Yeah.
It was weird science, bitch. She's hot.
It's been 7 years. Really, even though to me it only feels like a month, but
Yeah. And he did, when he woke up from the coma, he, had amazing, immediate, clarity.
Oh, yeah.
Other than, the one thing he couldn't remember was that, the camera, I think, did in the end, that, the surveillance in the beginning, they, show some of the surveillance footage at the end, and it, turns out that, the senator guy's, face did come into view. He walked into a light or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never saw that part. He wasn't looking at the camera.
Right. He was too busy, trying to poorly hide behind things you could see through.
Just rattling the camera.
He never had a chance to review the tape.
Right.
But I did think it was funny how he hid it I guess in his fridge or something, and then that ended up being behind the wall years later.
Was it in a fridge? He goes back because he goes back to the house. It's on an open house or something. Somebody's trying to sell the house that's lived in it, I guess, since
Actually,
then.
no, they're not even trying to sell the house because they're talking about how they're fixing it up. And they asked the lady about buying it, and she goes, well, we don't think we're going to sell it. We're actually putting a baby room in. But they still insist that the lady lets them see the house. So they literally just go in some woman's house that's not even selling it and break that shit.
Oh, right. Yeah, because that's where Seagal had hid the tape at his old house, at the house they lived in. So they weren't selling? I thought they were selling the house.
No, because she even says, I don't think we're going to sell it.
Why would they be allowed to go in? Because she's cool with them going in until he, blatantly breaks something.
Yeah,
and then tries to get somebody fired.
He's like, your contractor's doing a terrible job.
Just straight up like put somebody on blast.
But you're the only one in this room. Like, I just heard the smashing come from this room just now, and you're the only one in here. You're gonna blame someone else. I think the lady saw through the bullshit. 'Cause she definitely followed him out the house, wanting to say something but not knowing what to say. But I love how this camera's been hidden back in the wall for years. And there's no dust or anything. It looks brand new when he pulls it out of the wall.
And probably still, the battery's probably still charged. It's great.
So, this is all leading up to, the climax of the movie. You know, he's going to go do, his Punisher thing. Go and, take out the headquarters full of guys.
Yeah, get his son.
Yeah,
because, that's, and then, his IA, his internal affairs friend that dies after all that.
Right, because they split ways. He's like, take the kid. Yeah, y'all go hide this way, and I'm going to go kill these guys.
Yeah, and then,
they fucking just go right after the fucking guy with the kid.
Runs off, and then, and then Seagal, goes and rescues his kid. I love whenever Seagal first sees his kid after 7 years. Because it's,
I forgot about that scene. Yeah,
yeah, because, the kid's running away, his cop buddy, the other good cop, had just gotten shot, and, so Seagal takes off after the kid, and is, taking down the 3 guys as they're running, and so the very last guy that, is after his kid, Seagal's, has cornered, and stuff like that, and the guy sees it's Seagal, and so he's getting ready to fight him, and Seagal sees his kid for the first time, 7 years, and literally just rubs his hand on his head and down his face, and then pushes him away, and then just goes and fights the dude. He hasn't seen his kid in 7 years.
Daddy got to do what Daddy got to take care of the guy. Take care of the bad guy first. Come on.
My favorite thing about that fight was that, it's this pretty cool fight, and then, he figures out when he breaks the guy's wrist again, he's like, oh, that was you. And then he proceeds...
That dude from, it was the dude, he was the token Native American dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy from Renegade. What is that actor's name? It was Bobby Sixkiller or something. Sweet, legit Native American name.
Right.
He was the other guy in Renegade. Starring Lorenzo Lamas. Whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
He murders this guy, takes his life in a crowded street with tons of witnesses. And... it's fine, because I guess, we proved that he was one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Steven Seagal just gets away with, murdering everyone.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because...
that guy was a cop, too, wasn't he?
There was a bunch of crooked cops.
He murders that guy, puts a giant, 3 ninja mask on top of the dude's face after he murders him, and then his son just runs up and, hugs him and is happy.
Yep.
And then the cops show up and he runs. Yeah, no consequence.
Destruction of all kinds of public property, or not public property, but, people's...
Oh, yeah, because they bust up that one dude's little, street side, kitchen setup, and, all the other, little stands and vendors, yeah. He doesn't care at all.
Steven Seagal was really just, hell-bent. I like that, because, okay, so it's after that he goes off to take out all the...
Yeah.
Because I guess he remembers...
Yeah,
take it to the bank.
Yeah.
Remembers...
Take that to the bank.
That's the guy. That's
man, I loved how many... I don't even know how many times they said that. I should have looked that up, as how many times they said...
Take that to the bank.
You can take that to the bank. It was... Oh, yeah.
It was like that movie's I'll Buy That for $1.
Yeah.
From RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop had Buy That for $1. This had Take It to the Bank. I like also that, he leaves the kid with, Kelly LeBrock. And the kid's as that scene's ending, he's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "That's a long story." It's not really that long of a story.
She also
can pretty much explain it in 2 sentences.
She actually says, "That's a long story. Do you have a few minutes?" That's what she says. Do you have a few minutes? And that's why I was just like,
no,
that is not a long story by definition.
Yeah, you have a few minutes.
You just had a quick story of, well, your dad was in a coma. I looked at his dick. Then he woke up. I looked at his dick again. Yeah. It was hard.
Yeah.
And then now some bad guys are chasing us.
Basically, I'm your new mom.
Yeah. She was overselling it all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
A long story, few minutes, it was 2 sentences.
I love how he's you can trust her. But how does the kid, it's been 7 years, how does the kid know he can trust his dad? I mean, I guess he just assumes, was authority figure said so, but like, 7 years is a long time to be away from a parent. In any other movie,
the kid was pretty young, like when it all happened.
Right.
He was pretty much like raised by this other guy, and he's just basically like immediately just like, guy, cool dad.
The other guy's like, sorry, I told you your dad was dead for 7 years, but I had to. And the kid's just like, I understand. It's like, how do you have a grasp like that?
Yeah. Any other movie, that would be a big plot point about how the kid has a hard time adjusting to it.
Yeah, like he sees his dad and he's like,
fuck you,
no!
Yeah. You left me behind.
You let mom die.
Yeah, something like that.
It was all very lackluster. All that was lackluster and boring.
And so then it goes on to whenever they're, I think it's like at the pool hall.
The pool table fight scene, I think, was my favorite scene of the entire movie.
Yeah. That's
the best kill in that is it's the assassin from like the beginning that tries to kill him. It's the guy that's been in it the whole time. You finally get him, see him get killed. And the line,
the best line in the whole
line
movie
is just, "That's for my wife. Fuck you and die."
You and die.
He stabs him with a broken pool cue and kicks him over and says, "That's for my wife. Fuck you and die."
And it's not just stabs with a broken pool cue. It's like straight to the jugular.
Yeah.
Broken pool cue to the jugular. And it sticks.
That's the best. Like, that's his revenge line. That, like, somebody wrote that was just like, oh, this is the guy that killed his wife. I know that. And then...
Yeah, because when they come in and kill him, they're like, wearing masks and shit. When they came in and killed him, like, his wife, and shot him.
Yeah.
But he, like, recognizes their eyes, I suppose.
Yeah, so, like, but yeah, I just love it. It's like, that's my wife. Fuck you and die.
Fuck you and die. And then, basically just...
It's just them beat people up.
He just goes up and immediately apprehends the
senator.
The senator.
Yeah, when he's looking for the senator, though, it's really creepy and serial killer-ish because, like, he's walking around, like, gun drawn in front of him, and just, I forget what the senator's name was.
He was burning something.
Yeah, but he's sitting there, like, burning.
Yeah.
Are you under the bed burning? Are you in the closet burning? Yeah. He was definitely, like just creeping on that 100% intent to kill.
And then Vernon pops out, has the shotgun. He immediately takes it and then mouth rapes him with the shotgun.
Yeah.
And he gets that layer of blood around his mouth that doesn't look like blood. It just looks like lipstick is smeared on really crappily. And then I thought that was funny. And then you think, okay, well, he's beat. But no, of course, he tries to go after him with the pool cue, or not the pool cue, the poker, the fireplace poker. And that's, the final climax of the movie where, everyone comes in and then, first like, oh, they got Steven Seagal, he's going to jail. But then they're like, no, we've seen the tape.
We've seen the tapes. We know everything that happened.
We know you're set up.
Pretty much, you're immediately clear on, like, all of the, like, 20 people you killed.
They were mostly probably
never going to be another question asked about it.
Because, like, that's the thing is, like, now that all those cops are dead, there's no proof that they were dirty. And so even with, like, the evidence that the senator's dirty, he still murdered half of the police force. And then it's great, too, because his kid's somewhere, I don't remember where the lady puts him, because she shows back up, and he just immediately goes off with her and is just like, oh, I could use a vacation.
The kid's there, too.
Oh, is the kid there?
They both come through. What are they even doing there?
They run in, like, right after the cops do, we got here when the cops did or something.
Oh, I guess that they came.
They led the charge.
Why would they figure that that's a good place to
go?
There's probably gonna be lots of violence there. Let's go and take this kid with us.
Take the kid
to this crime scene.
Take the kid and the nurse, the new mom.
Like, couldn't they have met up with him later, like in a safer, like at a McDonald's or something?
Well, they could have, but then they wouldn't have been able to run up and embrace right there in that scene.
I just love it. He immediately, we know he's a bad guy, so all of your murder, all these counts of murder are now justified. Okay, because apparently there's revenge isn't illegal if the people are bad guys.
Right. Yeah. No, it was outrageous, and every time he found out any piece of information, every cop everywhere knew it, and that's the crazy thing. Those dirty cops were so well connected and organized. Well, not organized, well connected to where they could tell each other, but they were stupid. They just were guns blazing on everything.
They were all incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they waited a long time during the final standoff to tell Steven Seagal that, we've seen the tape. There's one cop there you know, they obviously are all showing up there to arrest the senator. And they're like, put the gun down, and not explaining why he should put the gun down. It's leaving a lot of room to him go, no, boom, no.
Oh, you guys are coming at me like you're going to arrest me, and I really want vengeance. Might as well go ahead and kill the senator.
Right. That should have been one of the first things they said. Like, we're here to arrest the senator, not you. Give us the gun. He might have been like, more immediately, here you go. But, I mean, I guess it all worked out. It just seems silly that they, like, I guess they wanted to build the tension. It just seems silly to not immediately come out and say, look, we've seen the tape. They have to wait, like, give me the gun. Give me the gun, Mason.
Yeah.
Give me the gun, Mason.
So, anyway, this movie, it just doesn't really date that well.
No.
It was pretty boring. Like, I mean, it was cool from like a sort of cheesy standpoint of...
If you've never seen it, I say you should give it a watch. But it's definitely, if you haven't seen it in a couple of years, you're fine.
Yeah. Like if someone has seen it and they're like, oh, I wonder if I'd like that, you probably would be better off just letting it remain something you remember fondly.
Yeah. I remember enjoying it a lot more last time I watched it.
Yeah, it definitely drags in the middle a lot. Like, the beginning's, like, really ridiculous and fun, but then, like, there's, like, the 20-minute montage scene that's broken up.
Yeah.
But there was some good cheesy kill lines, but, I mean, this kind of was towards, like, the early 90s, so...
Ian, did you look up a kill count? What this movie had as far as kill count? What's that site? I'll look it up.
I can't remember the site name. I did a search, and I don't think it came up, but it might actually be there.
Well, you know, you'd be surprised, because at the time, this movie did pretty well, actually. It, like, opened number 1 the weekend it came out.
And I was going to say I had a connection, but I looked up the crew for this movie, and I have a connection to the producer for a lot of those early, you know, Steven Seagal is movies, but not this one. There's a guy named... Julian Nasso, who was the producer, and I've actually, his son shot my old band's music video on his property.
Oh.
So I thought that's kind of neat little trivia, but it doesn't matter because he had nothing to do with Hard to Kill, so it's really kind of pointless trivia.
I really do like, though, that he's married to her, and their sex scene was more awkward.
Their sex scene was awkward, which, I mean, the marriage didn't last long. I think they were, like, divorced by, like, 1994.
Yeah, he was...
He was a notorious... You know, Steven Seagal is kind of, like, as it turned out, years after this movie, you know, kind of seems to be a little bit of a sleazebag. You know, he kind of, like... It's like every movie... He's one of those actors, like, every movie he shoots, there's, like, fucking... sexual harassment, like, claims and stuff like that.
And apparently he was a wife beater to Kelly LeBrock, too, so... I remember that because my mom used to have a huge crush on him, would always talk about, oh, I want to see that Steven Seagal movie, he's so sexy. And then she found that out and made the biggest deal about, like, oh my God, I can never watch another Steven Seagal movie again. It's like, I mean...
Seagal has, according to this one I'm looking at, 11 confirmed kills on screen. I guess that could be right. I feel like it would have been more than that.
Well, I think
he didn't kill everybody.
There were definitely a lot more kills in the movie, but his kills weren't that high.
Show.
I mean, he definitely, like...
When you finally got to the fights, I mean, like, this is one of the ones... Because in later movies, like, some of Seagal's, like, fight scenes in the movies, they just, like, kind of got really lazy. This was still when, like, it was real brutal, to the point, you know, break their arm, fucking throw them down, throw them through a window, throw them through some piece of furniture, so, I mean...
Off a ledge into a table.
Yeah. Like... I just feel like if I was going to suggest to somebody to, like, watch a Steven Seagal movie, I would suggest Under Siege. Which, Ian, admit it, you've never seen Under Siege.
I have yet to watch it. I was gonna watch it, like, when I was thinking, I got to rewatch Hard to Kill, I'll just make a Steven Seagal day out of it. Then I thought, I should probably save it, because we'll probably do that movie at some point. But,
we could, just for your sake, Ian, I think we could do some Under Siege. I mean, Under Siege, it's a pretty legit, like, good movie, for sure. I mean, you got Tommy Lee Jones in it.
I'm a fairly big Steven Seagal fanboy, so I feel kind of silly for not having seen this already.
Yeah.
But,
you told me you've seen Under Siege 2.
Yeah, I have, because it used to be on TV all the time.
You saw Under Siege 2? I've seen Under Siege, but not Under Siege 2.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them both. So, got y'all beat.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Ian, you you Steven Seagal fanboy, but honestly, you probably are much more of one than I am because like it was never Steven Seagal movies as a kid. Like they didn't really appeal to me as much. Like, I was into more like the flashier fight scenes.
Right, and I only really like them because of just how ridiculous and cheesy they are. Like it's not like I like super have like a lot of respect for Steven Seagal. It's like obviously not an actor. I wonder if all the Oscar talk in the beginning was just really shitty wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe if we plug the Oscars enough, maybe they'll give us a little.
The Oscar line in that movie just made no sense. I don't like maybe that was just like their joke, like ha ha ha. We know we're not gonna get an Oscar. That was like kind of like a wink moment, I guess.
Most of the filler dialogue didn't make any sense. Throughout the movie.
It was pretty awful. I felt like this movie, I looked it up and it kind of did better than I thought it would. Like, on IMDb, they have it ranked like a 5.6.
Yeah, we've seen way better movies that ranked way lower. Like, wasn't Punisher lower than that? Like,
I think so. Punisher Warzone, which is like such a ridiculous, retardedly awesome movie.
If you haven't seen
that. Punisher Warzone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you've seen it, so you know. We don't got to spread the gospel to you. It's an excellent, excellent movie. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's 33% from like critics. I was like, well, that was probably the best this movie could have hoped for.
Yeah.
And 47% from like viewer, regular old layman's. So
that's probably fair. I mean,
I feel like this movie pretty well represented in that way. It made like $47 million in the U.S.
That's ridiculous.
Box office. Opened number 1. So basically, it's his second biggest movie, I think, to Under Siege.
Wow.
Which Under Siege made $156 million worldwide. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I remember that one being a big deal. Like my parents loved those movies. They would always.
I love Under Siege too. It was definitely a big film for sure.
They'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna put you to bed early because Steven Seagal's coming on the TV tonight." So,
I wonder if Steven Seagal will pop up in like an Expendables movie.
I don't know. He was in Machete.
Yeah,
which was kind of the same kind of thing.
Interesting piece of trivia I saw like on some site. Maybe it said on like Wikipedia. It was like. It said that Under Siege was the only movie that had Steven Seagal in it to be considered fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, other than Machete. Machete came out, and that was like those two movies are the only two movies that Steven Seagal's in that rank like higher than whatever percentage it takes to get fresh.
That's ridiculous.
So, all right, cool. Well, Joel, you want to tell us again about your site, just to remind everybody?
Search us
Facebook.
Yeah, Evan Bloom, and on Facebook and YouTube. Got some sketches up already. We're filming more as we speak, but filming some more, working on other stuff, and then I also book stand-up comedy shows at JJ's Bohemia here in Chattanooga. So if you're ever in Chattanooga, you want to laugh, just check us out on Evan Bloom.
And open mic nights on.
Wednesdays.
Usually starts about 8 o'clock. You can catch me there a lot of times. Catch Joel there pretty much every time.
And Ian, your band?
Oh yeah, I play in a little band. It's a heavy metal band. We're called Unspoken Triumph. It's it's a thing. It's fun. I'm really modest about it.
We never shilled it on the show, so you might as well give people a place they can go to get something.
We got a Facebook. You just go to facebook.com/Unspoken Triumph. Or you can just search us and find us, and it's pretty cool stuff. I'm proud of it.
Ian is the vocalist.
I'm the singer. I'm the front man, whatever you want to call it. I guess I'm trying to be as multifaceted these days as possible. I didn't know how much of a heavy metal outlet this show would have. I figure I'd probably have a better opportunity showing the fact that I do comedy, kind of, sort of.
Well, Ian, heavy metal and gratuitous action movies go hand in hand.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, so you should download our music and listen to it in the background while you're watching action movies. It's probably a good idea.
All right.
Yeah,
cool. So I guess until we get together again in the man cave-like atmosphere, we'll see you. Bye.